A scarlet costume ejects from his ring, and in a blur of motion, police scientist Barry Allen becomes the Flash.
What's happening, guys? It's me, Drew, aka The Green Arrow, and today is going to be my review on Season 2 of The Flash. But before I get into that, I just want to show you guys a little bit of something. I mentioned that I've been getting a little bit of fan art recently, which I just want to share with you guys. I don't know if you can see it. Okay, so basically, this is the Justice League, and it's the symbols of each member of the Justice League. So we've got Martian Manhunter, Green Lantern, we've got Wonder Woman, Superman, Batman, we have the Flash, and this is the Hawkman symbol, Hawkman symbol. Pretty cool, you know. I really like it. It's a nice addition to add to my wall, which is an ever-growing wall, which is pretty cool. I really do like this. This is good, but not as much as actually I like a different one. 2 seconds, I'll show you. This one here, guys. Like, this one here was made, and I think it's a really good is it self-portraits of them, of all three Flashes. So you've got all three different Flashes there. You've got Barry Allen Flash, which is obviously the one in the red. Then you have Bart Allen Flash, who is in the middle. And then you have Kid Flash, Wally West. Either way, that's him. I really like it. I think it's really cool. It's getting put up onto my wall of... I'm actually going to have a fan art wall, which I'm going to start to do now, because there's this one, and obviously there's the other one I showed you. And I'm also getting a few more as well coming my way as well, so I'll be making myself a little fan wall, and whoever wants to send me in like fan art or whatever, I'll stick it up on the wall and all will be good. Alright guys, so let's get into the season which we've just left, which was actually Season 2 of The Flash. Okay, so basically we start off the season and the team are actually struggling to come to grips with Eddie's death, because as we know in the season 4 he had to kill himself to get rid of the Reverse Flash. But the question is, did he actually really get rid of the Reverse Flash? We know that Eddie shot himself, and we know that Eddie got sucked into like a black hole, into like a vortex kind of thing. We know that he got taken away. So we know at the beginning of the season that Team Flash are basically trying to get their heads around it and come to grips with what was actually going on there. Then we get introduced to a new character who comes from Earth 2, and his name is Jay Garrick. Now, before we knew anything about Jay Garrick, we thought Jay Garrick was a good guy. He came over, and he was basically helping Team Flash in basically tracking down Zoom and you know, holding Zoom to I guess to account to what he did on Earth 2. But you find out later that it's not exactly as Jay says it was. Then we got introduced to a couple of cool characters. We got introduced to Heatwave and Captain Cold, Captain Cold's sister, you know, who Cisco took a really shine into, because obviously, you know, she does look pretty hot. I gotta admit that myself. So Cisco took a fancy to her, and you know, things didn't end the way that they really wanted it to. Then we had a new Firestorm in the form of Jax. You know, obviously we know that Ronnie died in Season 1, and Jax took up the Montage as Firestorm. So him and Professor Stein got together and, you know, became Firestorm. You know, it took a lot of convincing Jax, because he didn't actually think that he was actually good enough or whatever else. And they went through a couple of selection processes to find different people who basically fitted up to the mantra of being Firestorm. But Jax actually becomes the Firestorm, and as we all know, him and Professor Stein left the Flash to go on to DC's Legends of Tomorrow, who they are still with at this particular moment, which is pretty cool. We're going to get to see some really good stuff with Firestorm coming up in season 2 of Legends of Tomorrow. So if you do watch Legends of Tomorrow, then yeah, you're going to get to see some really cool stuff coming their way from Firestorm, and it's going to be epic, guys. Like, it's just going to be epic. You just got to stay tuned. So then we go to, we saw Gorilla Grodd, okay, he's a cool character. It's pretty expensive to actually have loads of like episodes with Gorilla Grodd, because obviously it's a lot of CGI and a lot of effects, and quite frankly it's a real lot of money to be doing it. So obviously we got to see him. He got put into some other Earth where it's just primarily for apes and everything else. But in season 3 of The Flash, we should be getting Gorilla Grodd back at some point. But don't hold your breath on him being like a big part of it, if that makes sense. He will be obviously the main villain in it, in that episode, but he's not going to have like a really big screen time, because obviously it is really a lot of money. It's a lot of CGI to be putting into it. So like, we will be seeing Gorilla Grodd come season 3. We then got to see basically Zoom, who Zoom was, and if anybody actually realised, if you took a look and you saw what Zoom was wearing, the kind of the mask that he was wearing, then you'd have realised, it didn't click to me until like the very end, but you would have realised that the mask that he wears kind of was telling you that he's going to become the Black Flash. You know, like, it's just the way that the mask was on his face and everything else, and the voice and everything else. But it didn't click, because it doesn't click until you've seen it all and you think, oh damn, was that what they were doing? Okay, bam. Like, you thinking to yourself, that's a clever little trick that they did there, you know. So we got to see Zoom, and throughout the whole, I think it was the second part of the season, we had Harrison Wells basically trying to steal Barry's speed for Zoom, because we find out that Zoom has kidnapped his daughter, and, you know, he wants her back, you know, as any father would. You know, he's going to go that little bit further to get the job done. So basically, yeah, he ends up in doing a couple of things. He ends up in killing a couple of people. He kills Turtle to make sure that he doesn't open his mouth and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, he really does push it to the extreme, but he gets her back. And with getting her back comes more problems, because, you know, through the episode, through season 2, you got to see that Barry and Cisco and Wells travelled back to Earth 2. And when they travelled back to Earth 2, they basically got introduced to double gangers. So this is where we got to see some really cool things. So we got to see Killer Frost. Okay, Killer Frost is aka Caitlin on Earth 1. We got Firestorm Ronnie, who's dead on Earth 1 but was alive on Earth 2 until Zoom killed him. We also had Vibe, who is Cisco on Earth 1, and on Earth 2 who was called Vibe. And on Earth 1 we find out that Cisco does actually have powers too, so that was pretty cool. We got to see a flip side to Iris and Joe. On Earth 1, obviously, Iris is a news reporter, and Joe is obviously a cop. And on Earth 2 it got flipped slightly. Joe was a singer, and Iris was a cop. And, you know, Joe ends up dying on Earth 2, and it weren't great for for Barry. We then got to see on Earth 2, we got to see a phone, and on this phone there was like quite a few different names on it. So we had Mum and Dad, we had Dad, we had Bruce, Diana, and Hal, and they are, obviously, as we know, the Justice League people. I'll talk a little bit about the Justice League in just a minute. At the end of the review, I'll talk just a little bit about the Justice League. So obviously we know that Zoom kidnapped Wells' daughter. She got released. He then goes on to kidnapping Barry, and Barry ends up in getting himself out of this. It's like a Speed Force containment field where Zoom basically puts Speedster into even. And this is where we got introduced to the Man in the Iron Mask. So everyone was speculating on who this guy in the Iron Mask was, and it was just like nobody actually knew who the guy in the Iron Mask. So there was so many things getting thrown out there. It was Wally West, it was Joe, it was Henry Allen, it was Zoom's dad, it was Ronnie, it was Eddie. Like the list just went on and 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 on. And spoilers, guys, because I'm going to reveal who the guy in the Iron Mask actually is in just a minute. But then we had it go even further. We had a nice little crossover, and it was called The World's Finest. And it was with Supergirl and The Flash. And if anybody knows like the original comics, you would actually know that it would have been Superman and The Flash, and they had races, and it was all basically done for charity. They done a lot for like charity, and they done all these races and all this kind of stuff. And it was like who's the fastest person there, and like there was never really like a distinct winner. But we always know that it would have been The Flash, and The Flash always knew that it was going to be him, and he always used to say, you know what, I'll let you win kind of thing, and don't worry about it and all that kind of stuff. So that was a really good episode. We got to see, in this crossover episode, we got to see Barry basically helping out Kara with two of her villains on Supergirl, which was Livewire and Black Banshee. And yeah, it was a good episode. Obviously, we didn't get to see The Flash as much because obviously it wasn't The Flash's show, and it was good to see a different side to Barry as well. That he can help people out, and he can still be as smart as he is and as fast as he is, and that was pretty cool. I did really enjoy that episode, and I'm really stoked that Supergirl is actually coming to the CW, and we're gonna have this amazing DC universe which is being created on the CW, which is really good, and I hope that they continue raising the bar slightly. On some of the programs the bar's dropped. We need to bring it back up. I'll be talking about that program on another video, but they need to raise the bar again, and keep on raising it because we all know the movies are coming out and all that kind of stuff. So we've got the Suicide Squad, which is really good. It's coming out. We've got what other ones we got? So we've got Suicide Squad. We've got the Harley Quinn movie, which they're looking to bring out, which I'm stoked about that. Harley Quinn, she's always been that back person, in the Joker's little playthings, and now for her to actually get her own but her own movie, it's going to be really good. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm stoked by that. But let's go back to The Flash, and so we know that Barry finally ends up in getting home from Supergirl's world. They end up in, it's the Speed Force basically. They end up running so fast that Barry ends up opening a breach and going straight back to Central City. So the final part of the episode is basically all about Zoom and the way Zoom's going to try and take down the Flash. And we had we had quite a good conversation with him and Zoom at one point, And Zoom's basically trying to tell Barry that he is exactly the same way he is. There's no airs and graces about it. You know, you are as evil as I am, and I'm going to prove to you that you're going to be as evil as I am, and watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to destroy everything around you and watch you basically crumble. You know, I can do it and not really care. You, on the other hand, you've got a conscience which is going to stop you from doing the things that you need to do, which is going to make you better. Now, we all know that Barry Allen is claimed to be the fastest man sorry guys, the fastest man alive. So basically that's what we're building up to. We're building up to who is gonna be the fastest man alive. So we got to see Zoom's metahuman army, and you know guys, that was pretty cool. Like, you got to see quite a lot. We got to see quite a few different people, like, and there was a guy who has a skull who was all in green. You know, I could be wrong, but he could have been a lantern of some sort on a different Earth, on a different Earth, on a bad Earth or whatever. And you know, he is the way he is. He's green. He could do whatever he wants to. We then got to see the Bandagarians, which are the Hawk people. As well, which was pretty cool. They were flying through Central City as well. It was amazing. We also got to see the Black Canary, but guys, in this she wasn't called the Black Canary, she was called the Black Siren. Now, there's a kind of like a story of who the Black Siren is, you know. But it all depends on what kind of like world you're flowing into, you know, because originally the Black Siren was the Black Canary's mum, so like it's a bit confusing, but you know, the Black Canary is the Black Siren anyway, so it don't matter. But we got to see the Black Canary, well, the Black Siren on the Flash, which was amazing, after Arrow killed her off for some reason. Like, doesn't make no damn sense. Like I said guys, I'll be talking about that in a different video, because if I get going about that one, I'm never going to stop. So we got to see Zoom's metahuman army, and it was really cool. I enjoyed seeing it. They took a big stand on Central City, and you know, they destroyed quite a lot. It was nice to see that Wally, you know, Wally was like one of the guys who was wanting to stand up for his city and everything else. But just before that, what I forgot to mention is they redone the particle accelerator, and with doing the particle accelerator explosion again, it gives Wally and Jesse their powers, right? But they've not been shown to have their powers yet. But guys, they have got their powers. They are speedsters. You'll see it in season 3 at some point. They're going to tease you through the whole of season 3 with these two, them and their powers, and you know, you will get to see them. It is going to be pretty cool. But we ended up in finding out, we're in this experiment, what happens, Barry ends up being put into the Speed Force. And this is where the episode Runaway Dinosaur, which was amazingly written by the way, really good. That episode was most probably one of the best episodes that The Flash had. And you basically find that Barry was in the Speed Force, and he came up with he had a problem. He got there and he got introduced to like loads of people that he knew. So he got introduced to Joe, who wasn't Joe. He got introduced to Iris, who wasn't Iris. He got introduced to Henry Allen, who wasn't Henry Allen. He got introduced to his mum, who obviously wasn't his mum. These people were all people from the Speed Force. It was the Speed Force itself what basically created this world for him, to make him feel comfortable and to make him like relaxed. But the thing that Barry had to realise is he had to make a decision. Now, they all were telling him throughout the whole episode, you know, you can go whenever you want to go. That's not a problem. We're not here to keep you or trap you here. We're here to guide you and help you, you know. So at any time you want to go, Barry, you can go. But there's one thing. You're going without your speed. And obviously, Barry didn't want to go without his speed. So the whole objective to this episode was Barry had to get this shadow, this blur, which is speeding around like the Speed Force, which was contained within inside the world that he knows. So throughout the whole episode, you got to see Barry taking on these different like trials and tribulations. You had Cisco, he was vibing to him, and he was like, "Come on, Barry, come home," kind of thing. And Barry weren't having it. You know, he wanted to become. Obviously, he wanted his speed back. He wanted to become the Flash. So throughout the old episode, like, Barry does these little things, and then it's this final part where, you know, he goes to his mum's grave, and he's talking to his dad, and he's basically saying to his dad, I've never been here before, like, I feel bad, you know, I've never visited her, I just couldn't bring myself to do it because basically, like, it would have killed me, kind of thing. And Henry, or the Speed Force, was basically saying to him, it's not your fault, you know, you couldn't have done anything to change it, whatever happened for a reason, and, you know, no matter what, that, you know, your mother would have always still loved you. So then we got to see Nora Allen, which is really cool, and her and Barry have this nice little conversation that they have with each other, and then they have this story tell, and it's like she's reading this dinosaur book to Barry, and Barry then kind of stops her and continues reading it back to her, and she basically says to Barry, you know what you've got to do, you know, you just believe in yourself, like, you know, I'll always love you from here, there, anywhere I am, I'm always going to love you, I'm always going to be your mum, I'm always going to be looking out for you. And with that, that's what gives Barry his little bit of, I suppose, oomph, and, you know, he stands up and this blur just comes blushing through the door, and as he comes smashing through the door, Barry sticks out his arm, just like so, boom, eyes closed, opens his eyes, and it reveals that the person who he's just stopped was himself. You know, then he turns into the Flash, and it was really good because, you know, they had we kind of knew that he needed some kind of lightning rod, and the lightning rod to that occasion was Iris, which is really, really, really good. You know, so Iris dragged him from one point to another point, and then it's just as they got to that point, you know, in that episode, they were all going to get killed by this metallic guy who was a zombie, and, you know, it was just the right amount of time. He came back and he saved the world. Well, he not saved the world, but he saved the gang and defeated this guy. So then basically I'm going to jump to the end of the season, and the end of the season was called The Race of His Life. So this is, guys, where the who is the fastest man comes into effect, because you know, from season 1 he's always said, I am Barry Allen, I'm the fastest man alive, which wasn't true, because at this point Zoom was actually the fastest man alive. So he wasn't the fastest man alive, so it was one of those things, it was a really good thing that basically him and Zoom had to race. Zoom kidnaps Joe to make Barry basically race him. Wally ends up in releasing Barry after the team trap him in one of the confinement things in Star Labs, and Wally finds out his dad's basically been kidnapped, so he wants Barry's help to get him back, which in turn Barry does, and they both have the race of their life. And this is where we first see that Barry travels back in time, gets a time remnant, comes back, and basically this remnant's still chasing him with Zoom, and he's managed to got Joe to safety, gone back. This time remnant starts spinning around the opposite way, and he basically dies. And this is what Zoom was trying to say the whole time. You know, Zoom could go around killing like versions of himself, and he didn't care. And he was saying to Barry, this is basically what you can't do and I can do, which is going to make me better than you. So basically Barry takes a leaf out of Zoom's book, travels back in time just before the beginning of the race to grab this time remnant, and it's the time remnant and Zoom which are racing, and it finally ends up in Barry destroying this magneton thing, because as him and Zoom are going one way, the time remnant guy's going the other way, and it's kind of like sucking it all in kind of thing. And we end up in finding out that Barry and Zoom have this little fight, and Zoom says, you can't take me on, and Barry's like, I don't need to. check these guys out. And this is where you get to see the Time Raiders. They come in and they catch a Zoom. And basically you see Zoom turning from Zoom to the Black Flash, and holy shit, like, that was cool. You get to see like the like burnt out face and the red parts of the electricity spikes, or the bolts of lightning which turned red on his thing. And if that's where you can look at the mask from the beginning and look at it at the end, and you can kind of see the resemblance of they were actually going to make him the Black Flash through the whole time. But then obviously it was Jay Garrick, and it was the guy in the iron mask. This was like the thing that everyone wanted to know, who was this guy in the iron mask was. And yes, guys, it was Jay Garrick. But my only one concern with this is as follows, okay? Now, I think his name is John Leslie Shipp, yeah, right? He played the original Flash in the 90s TV show, okay? Where it didn't just air for a couple of months, yeah, it aired for a year, guys. So this guy, John Leslie Shipp, was Barry Allen, okay? Yes, you heard me right, he was Barry Allen, okay? So now, what they've done is they brought him back, which is cool. And they brought him back as Henry Allen. Because you could be like, yeah, that's kind of cool because, yeah, Dad, he could be the dad now, and now it's Flash, and it's all good. But they didn't stop there. Oh, no, they didn't, guys. They did not stop there. What they decided to do is they decided to make him once again another character and put him as Jay Garrick. Now, that's just confused the hell out of me personally, because I don't quite understand how one character can be 3 different people in the same universe. Like, it just doesn't make sense. In the Speed Force, when Barry went through, you got to see Supergirl, Gorilla Grodd, Captain Cold, and all the rest of them, right? And you got to see the 90s Flash. 90s Flash. Now, was that an Easter egg to say to you, basically, this guy is Jay Garrick, yeah? But we're going to show you the picture of the 90s Flash. I just don't get why they showed you the 90s Flash, and they have to kind of like, gonna have to explain why or how they've managed to make him 3 different people in the same universe. Explain. But it's going to be good. But guys, that was pretty much it. That season was pretty much an epic season. Like, it was a really, really good season. I really enjoyed that season. Season 2, perfect. But guys, season 3 is going to be even better, right? Because obviously we ended with Barry saving his mum, so now we've created the Flashpoint paradox. But guys, it's not going to be exactly the same as in the animated version. If you've not seen the animated version, guys, I'd recommend actually going to watch it or going to read the comic, because then you get to know just a little bit about the Flashpoint paradox, and you know, you're gonna get to know a little bit more. I think what's going to happen in season 3 is we're going to have a villain who hasn't got any metahuman powers, because we want to give them a different bit of a challenge now. So we don't know who it's going to be. It could be, there's rumours that it might be Mirror Master, okay? But I'm not quite sure if it is Mirror Master or not. Don't hold me to that, I don't know, but I do know that their season 3 villain isn't going to have powers. So it could be Mirror Master. Like, they were teasing Mirror Master last season, so we don't know. It might be Mirror Master. If it is, it's good. Like I said, guys, we're going to get Gorilla Grodd at some point as well in season 3. Guaranteed he's going to be back, and he's going to be bringing out some trouble. And I do believe we will be seeing the Black Flash again as well at some point, because we're going to have to. He's badass. Did you not see the way that he left with the Raiders? Oh my god, he's going to be back, and he's going to be pissed. But a thing to note though, people, the Black Flash isn't exactly a bad guy. He may look evil and everything else, but he's not a bad guy, okay? He's a guy what basically has to do his job. Once the speedster's died, his basic job is to come and collect them and take them back into the Speed Force. So he's like a Reaper. He just comes and collects you once you're dead and brings you back. So he's not an actual bad guy, people. Yeah. So don't hate on him too much. Yeah. But you can still hate him because he's the Black Flash. But one thing to notice as well, Barry Allen actually turns into the Black Flash. I bet you didn't know that, did you? So, with that being said, guys, season 3 is shaping up to be really good. Like I said, once I know a little bit more as well about season 3 and what's actually going to be coming up, because obviously I've got my predictions of what's going to happen. Obviously, like I said, I reckon Grin of God's going to come back. We're going to have this amazing 4-day crossover between Legends of Tomorrow, Flash, Supergirl, and the Arrow. That is going to form a Justice League, people. Rex Tyler, Owlman, he appeared in the last episode of Legends of Tomorrow. We know on The Flash that Jay Garrett turned up in the last episode, and we know on the last episode, Kill Myself Now, of the Arrow, Ollie turns into the Mayor, right? Which obviously we know, and this all comes together to how the Justice League are actually created, or a JSA. A little bit about Power Man quickly is basically Power Man takes these pills that he basically adapted the Mirakuru drug, and he takes these pills, and basically an hour at a time he becomes pretty much like Superman. Okay, he's got super strength, super speed, he's got everything. I don't know if he can fly. I think he can fly as well. So like, only an hour time, and it's called Power Hour, so you can make some funny remarks about that as well, because it's pretty funny. So that's Rex Tyler. We're going to get to see a lot more about Rex Tyler. He's going to become a fit-in to the DC show Legends of Tomorrow, so he's always going to be there. So you're going to get to know a lot more about him. Obviously we're going to get to know a little bit more about Jay Garrett, who he told us he comes from Earth 3. So we're going to get to find out a little bit about Earth 3. Obviously in the comics, Earth 3 is the crime syndicate Earth, but I reckon that was Earth 2, which they've done as the crime syndicate Earth, because Earth 2 was kind of like shady and bad. So that's, I reckon, going to be on that one there. But guys, that is my season 2 summary of The Flash. Guys, I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, I'm getting a fan art from people. You know, if you're one of these people who like to draw or anything else, and you want to stick that forward, you know, give me a message on the back end of either my YouTube channel or on my Facebook channel, and yeah, that'd be great. I'll display it, and I will obviously tell people about your great work. But yeah, I want to thank, who I want to thank for this one at the moment is Kirsty. Like she's done this one for me, and obviously she's done me my other ones, and she's doing me a few more as well. So I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I will just be displaying them, and like I said, I'm gonna have like a fan art wall. So then all the pictures will be put up there, and at some point I will go through all the pictures and then show you guys all of them. But as always, guys, I'm your host Drew. I am aka the Green Arrow. Guys, if you like what you heard, give me that thumbs up. If you don't, give me that thumbs down. If you get to in between, that's fine too. Guys, if you want to stick a comment in that comment section down below, that's going to be great, because obviously that's going to help me improve my channel and give you guys the content that you actually want and enjoy. Because obviously I'm doing this for myself really, but I'm doing it because you guys are enjoying it, which is pretty cool. If you want to stick a comment and it's negative, and you want to be a negative Nancy, guys, that's perfect too, because in a couple of videos back I was a negative Nancy on the Arrow So I can understand why people are negative about things. Stick that comment in that comment section down below too. That will be great. If you're new to the channel, guys, hit that subscribe button for all things Marvel and DC. Guys, soon they will be coming. I keep on saying it, and I say it again, and again, and again, again, till it's here. But they're doing Iron Fist and they're doing Luke Cage. That's going to be out on Netflix this summer, guys. Once I get around to watching that, I'll be bringing you guys a review on that as well. You guys can tell me if you enjoy it or you don't enjoy it. What was your best parts in there? What I need to look out for? What I missed even? Bring it to me. Let me know. That'd be great. But like I said, guys, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and I'll keep you informed of all good things Marvel and DC. But as always, guys, I am your host, Drew, aka The Green Arrow. Straight shooting, people.